Be honest with me for a second. Have you actually sat down and figured out when you're going to take your CPP? Not like, oh, I'll deal with it later. I mean, actually planned it out. Because here's what most Canadians do. They work for 35 years. They save into their RRSP. They try to pay off the mortgage. And then one day they're 60 and someone at work says, hey, are you applying for your CPP? And they go, I guess. That is how most Canadians make one of the biggest financial decisions of their retirement, on a guess. And look, maybe you're in your 30s or 40s and you think you've got time. Or maybe you're 55 and it's suddenly real. Either way, this one decision, 60, 65, or 70, could mean the difference between spending your best years doing what you love or sitting on a pile of money you're too tired to spend. I read a book recently that completely changed how I think about this. It was written by a Wall Street trader who made millions, and he says most of us are making a huge mistake with our retirement, not the kind your financial advisor warns you about, a much bigger one, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. By the end of this video, you're going to look at your CPP decision completely differently. And in Chapter 5, I'm going to show you a Canadian strategy that this author never even thought of, because he's American, and he doesn't know about the tools we have up here. I'm Sebastian, this is Canadian Finance, education, not advice. Let's get into it. Here's what you're walking away with today. Number 1, the real CPP math at 60, 65, and 70. The numbers most Canadians have never actually seen. Number 2, a philosophy from a millionaire trader that flips retirement planning completely upside down. Number 3, the 3 stages of retirement spending nobody warns you about. Number 4, a Canadian-specific strategy that lets you enjoy your best years and still max out your CPP. And number 5, a 5-step retirement fulfillment plan you can start building tonight. One more thing before we start. Stay with me until Chapter 5, because that's where I show you a strategy that most financial advisors don't even bring up. It lets you take your CPP later for the bigger payout, but still have cash in your pocket during the years you actually want to live it up. Alright, before we talk philosophy, you need to understand what is actually on the table. The CPP gives you 3 choices. Start at 60, 65, or 70. And the difference is massive. At age 65, the maximum CPP payment in 2026 is $1,433 a month. Sounds great, right? Here's the problem. The average Canadian actually receives about $831 a month. That is a huge gap, and most people have no idea where they actually fall. Log into your My Service Canada account tonight. Pull up your statement of contributions. Most Canadians have never done this, and they are shocked when they see the real number. Do it tonight. It takes 5 minutes. Now, if you start CPP at 60, your payment gets cut by 0.6% for every single month before your 65th birthday. That is 36% less, permanently, not temporarily. That reduction stays with you for the rest of your life. But if you wait until 70, you get 0.7% more for every month after 65. That adds up to 42% more than the standard amount, 42% more, on a payment you receive every single month for the rest of your life. So here's the question everyone asks. If I take it early, I get less per month, but I get it for longer. If I wait, I get more per month, but I miss out on years of payments. When does the person who waited actually catch up? This is called the break-even age, and it's the key to this whole debate. If you take CPP at 60 instead of 65, the person who waited catches up around age 74. If you compare 65 versus 70, the person who delayed breaks even around age 82. After that, the person who waited comes out ahead every single year. By age 80, the person who waited until 65 has collected more total CPP than the person who started at 60. And by age 85, the person who waited until 70 is pulling ahead of everyone. The math clearly says wait. But here's where it gets interesting, because I just showed you the math, and the math says wait as long as you can. So why did a hedge fund trader, someone who is really good at math, write an entire book saying that logic might be costing you the best years of your life? Let me introduce you to Bill Perkins, former Wall Street energy trader, made hundreds of millions of dollars, and then wrote a book that basically says most people are saving their whole lives for a retirement they're too old to enjoy. The book is called Die with Zero. Here is his big idea. Every dollar you earn costs you something. It costs you time, hours of your life that you traded for that money. So if you die with money left over, you didn't just leave behind cash. You left behind hours of your life that you never got to enjoy. That money represents experiences you never had. And he backs this up with a stat that stopped me cold. Research shows that retirees with over $500,000 saved only spent about 12% of it before they died. 12%. They kept 88% of their retirement savings and took it to the grave. Now Perkins breaks retirement into 3 stages, and every Canadian needs to hear this. Stage 1. Your go-go years. Roughly 60 to 70. You've got energy. Your health is good. This is when you want to travel, try new things, spend time with the people you love. Road trip to the Maritimes, summer with the grandkids at the cottage. This is the prime time. Stage 2. Your slow-go years. Roughly 70 to 80. You're still active, but slowing down. Less travel, more time close to home. Stage 3. Your no-go years. 80 and beyond. Your spending naturally drops. Perkins says most people spend 50% less in their 80s than they did in their 60s. You just don't need as much money. And here's the part that really got me. Perkins talks about memory dividends. When you spend $1 on an experience at 62, a fishing trip with your grandkids, a road trip across Canada, that memory pays you back every single time you think about it for 20, 30 years. That is a dividend no stock can match. Now, before you throw your phone across the room, I'm not telling you to drain your accounts and hope for the best. And Perkins isn't saying that either. He's saying stop optimizing only for dollars and start optimizing for your actual life. There is a difference. So now you've got 2 ways of thinking about this. The math brain says delay your CPP as long as possible. The life brain says your best years are slipping away while you wait. Which one is right? Honestly, I think the answer is both, and that's what the next chapter is about. This is the part where everything clicks, because we are about to ask a question that almost nobody asks when it comes to CPP. Everyone asks, when do I get the most money from CPP? That is the wrong question. The right question is, when do I need the most life energy? Because money is not the goal. The life you build with that money is the goal. And those 2 questions lead to completely different answers. Think about it this way. During your go-go years, 60 to 70, that's when you want to take that trip to the Rockies, renovate the cottage, spend a summer with the grandkids. That is when you need cash flow the most. But if you delay CPP to 70, you're getting 0 from CPP during those exact years. And then in your no-go years, 80 and beyond, that big 42% bonus arrives every month. But by then your spending has dropped by half. You're not flying anywhere, you're not renovating anything. You are getting the most money during the years you need it the least. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Sebastian, what if I live to 95? What if I run out of money? That is a real concern, and I'm not going to brush it off. Delaying CPP is longevity insurance. If you live a really long time, that extra 42% is a lifeline. That is fair. But here's what Perkins misses. And it's not his fault. He's American. In Canada, CPP is not your only safety net. You've got OAS kicking in at 65. You might qualify for GIS. You have your TFSA and your RRSP. CPP is one tool in a very full toolbox, and that changes the math completely. Which brings us to the part I've been building towards since the beginning. This is what I call the RRSP bridge strategy. And honestly, this is the part that makes being Canadian a genuine superpower when it comes to retirement. The idea is simple. You use your RRSP to fund your go-go years from 60 to 70, while you delay your CPP to get that full 42% bonus at 70. Here's how it works. From 60 to 70, you draw down your RRSP. That gives you income to live on, to travel, to do everything on your bucket list during your prime years. Meanwhile, your CPP is sitting there growing by 0.7% every single month. You're not collecting it, but it's getting bigger in the background. And here's the tax angle that makes this even smarter. Between 60 and 64, you probably don't have OAS yet. That doesn't start until 65. So your income is lower. That means your RRSP withdrawals during those years could be taxed at a much lower rate than if you pulled them out later when CPP and OAS are already stacking on top. Plus, and this is the part most people completely miss, if you wait and pull RRSP money out after 65, when your CPP and OAS are already flowing, your total income could push you past $95,000. And that's the OAS clawback zone. The government starts taking back your old age security. That is literally free money disappearing because your income is too high in 1 year. And don't forget your TFSA. While your RRSP is handling the bridge income, your TFSA is your tax-free spending account. That road trip to Tofino, tax-free. Helping your kid with a down payment, tax-free. Fixing up the cottage, tax-free. This is where the die with zero philosophy actually lives inside your Canadian plan. So let me put the whole picture together. From 60 to 70, your RRSP is the engine. It funds your life while CPP grows in the background. At 65, OAS kicks in and adds a floor. At 70, CPP turns on at the maximum amount. And your TFSA sits on top the whole time as your tax-free experience fund. That is the Canadian retirement income stack. And it is genuinely beautiful. Now, I have to be straight with you. This strategy isn't for everyone. If you don't have much in your RRSP, or if you have health concerns that make you question whether you'll be around past 75, taking CPP early might be the smarter move. There's no shame in that. The point is not to follow one rule. The point is to make this decision on purpose instead of on a guess. Alright, you understand the philosophy. You understand the strategy. Now let's build it for your actual life. 5 steps. Let's go. Step 1. Check your actual CPP estimate. Not what you think you'll get, what you'll actually get. Log into your MyService Canada account and pull up your statement of contributions. Most Canadians have never done this, and they are shocked at the real number. Do it tonight. 5 minutes. Step 2. Time bucket your life. This is straight from Perkins, and it is genuinely brilliant. Grab a piece of paper and write 3 columns, 60 to 70, 70 to 80, 80 and beyond. Now fill each column with the experiences you actually want to have during those years. Be specific, not just travel, where, with who, for how long. This is your life we're talking about. Step 3. Map your Canadian income stack. Write down every source of retirement income you'll have, your CPP estimate from Step 1, OAS, which is up to about $727 a month in 2026, your RRSP balance, your TFSA balance, any workplace pension, map out when each one starts and how much it gives you per month. This is your retirement dashboard. Step 4. Run the bridge math. This is the big one. Take your RRSP balance and divide it by 10. That's roughly how much you could withdraw per year from 60 to 70. Is that enough to cover your expenses during your go-go years? If yes, the bridge strategy might work for you. If it's tight, maybe you take CPP at 65 instead of 70 and do a shorter bridge. The point is you're making this decision with real numbers, not a guess. Step 5. Build in your safety net. Because life is not a spreadsheet and things go sideways, make sure you have an emergency fund. Understand that CPP is indexed to inflation, so it grows every year automatically. Know how the survivor benefit works so your spouse is protected if something happens to you. And if your income is low enough, GIS can add extra support on top of OAS. Canada built a net for you. Know where it is. Before we close, 3 mistakes I see Canadians make all the time. 1. Taking CPP early just to invest it. After taxes and market risk, this almost never works out the way people think. 2. Forgetting the survivor benefit. If you pass away, your spouse receives a portion of your CPP. Delaying means that portion is bigger too. This matters more than most people realize. 3. Treating your RRSP like it's inflation protected. It's not. CPP is. And that matters enormously over a 20 or 30-year retirement. Let me bring this back to where we started. I asked you at the beginning whether you've actually planned your CPP. And I hope by now you're realizing this is not just a money question. It never was. The real question is, what do you want your life to look like when you stop working? Bill Perkins says the richest person in the cemetery is still dead, and he's right. But that doesn't mean you drain your accounts and hope for the best. It means you plan with intention. You use the incredible tools Canada gives you, the RRSP, the TFSA, CPP, OAS, and you build a retirement that funds your life, not just your bank account. The goal is not to die with zero, and it's not to die with millions. The goal is to die with no regrets. To know that you made this decision on purpose, that you lived your go-go years fully, and that you built a plan that works for your life, not someone else's. If this changed how you think about retirement, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Every week I break down the financial strategies that actually matter for Canadians, and drop your age and your province in the comments. I want to know where you are on this journey. I read every single one. I'm Sebastian. This is Canadian Finance, and I'll see you in the next one.